Today's address at the US State Congress, Prime Minister Modi has become only the third world leader ever to make such an address twice before. While US Congress members hailed Prime Minister's speech at the US Congress, they said that his speech was very thoughtful, outlining ties between the two countries.
I think the Prime Minister gave a very strong speech. He affirmed the U.S. economic, technology, defense partnership, and he also said something very important, that India celebrates all faiths and respects all faiths and, of course, needs to work towards doing that. It was a well-received speech.
It was wonderful. And number one, he was very warmly received by a joint session of Congress, House and Senate, as well as the Vice President. So it was very exciting to be able to warmly welcome him. And I thought his speech was very thoughtful, very filled with the partnerships of our two democracies. India's just 75 years old, and ours one of the oldest in the world. So the repeated refrain for the American and Indian partnerships at a growing time of trouble, I think is incredibly important, both economic and in terms of world peace.
I was just strongly impressed. He gave a great speech. It was uplifting. It was very relevant to the issues and conflicts facing the world. I think everybody in there, Republicans and Democrats, can learn from it and take a lot from it. And it's wonderful that we have a plan for a working relationship and a great relationship between America and India.
I thought it was wonderful. I think it's always important for the United States to have direct contact and trying to build the ties a little closer to our democratic partners. Particularly India is such an important country as a democracy in an area that's of great strategic importance to the United States.
It was so inspiring again, and I was here in 2016. I had the opportunity to be at the Red Fort in 2018. I was at Howdy Modi when the Prime Minister came to Texas. I was in New York when he spoke at Madison Square Garden, and every time the message from the Prime Minister is very positive and very exciting to see the relationship between the United States and India, the world's largest democracy, the world's oldest democracy. Working together, we benefit.
Well, and more reactions are coming in from other congressmen. Let's listen in.
What are the high points, according to you, of this Prime Minister Modi's address to the US Congress? And he actually made history by addressing it twice.
That's right. And I think he had a uniting, very powerful message of friendship, of the great things that we could do by working together. He talked about climate. He talked about business and opportunities that we have growing forward. He also talked and recognized that they are the largest democracy in the world and we're the oldest, and together it's a beautiful partnership. And I think it was living the global complications that we're living in today with China and Russia and Iran and people around the world. It's nice to know that we have friends like Prime Minister Modi.
Right. So looking at the joint statement that has been released by the White House, what are the sectors that you think India and US can cooperate and collaborate going together in the future?
Well, I think science, technology, education, healthcare. India has proven themselves through COVID and has been an example to the world, and the economic growth that they've shown us recently, I think clearly puts us on the path to a long partnership.
What are the high points, according to you, of this Prime Minister Modi's address to the joint session of Congress?
It was a very positive, uplifting speech about all the ties we have in the United States to India, both economically, technology, medical, to bring us into a new century of what he talked about, lightness, coming out of the darkness together. Talked about our defense cooperation together. Talked a lot about the Quad, which is our ability to confront communist China. But at the end of the day, just a very positive vision of hope between the two countries and how strong we envision our alliance moving forward. And I thought that was the most exciting thing about it. Not to mention, all the American Indians in the gallery were so passionate. Yes. I go to a lot of these, and I don't think I've seen the local population be so passionate about a leader coming from their country as I have today.
So what do you think, what are the areas that India and the US come closer together to solve the global issues, as it was pointed out, be it the global the global warming, climate change and terrorism and things like that. So what are the global issues that we can actually work together?
Well, I think he talked about the threats to democracy and sovereignty. That would be Russia, China, Iran, North Korea. He talked about the threats of terrorism, which is on the rise now in Afghanistan, and as you know from Pakistan, there are many terrorist threats. He also talked about the environment, how we need to sustain our environment, that we have a Mother Earth, we all have a duty to protect her, and he brought some humor as well, which I think surprised some of us. I know him, and his style was very entertaining at times, very humorous, but then very uplifting and passionate.
Count how many standing ovations my Prime Minister got?
Hey, I lost count, except for one thing. There was a lot of love there, and there's a lot of love and appreciation and affection for the people of India and for the Prime Minister. And then, it's personal to me, my father served in India during World War II. And so I grew up with a great love and affection of the people of India. And then, hey, the Indian American community has made such a difference, so positive in America. The highest per capita income of any immigrant group in the United States, the highest percentage of millionaires of any immigrant group in the United States. And so over and over again, we see the positive relationship between the people of India and America.
What do you think, what are the high points of this 45-50 minute long speech, and where do you see the India-US relations going forward from here?
Well, a high point for me was to learn that India now has the fifth largest economy in the world. That's great. Okay, we want economic prosperity for the people of India, for the opportunities, and very likely as India grows, they'll be the third largest. And then I was also very appreciative of the Prime Minister referencing territorial integrity. With the war in Ukraine, with war criminal Putin attacking the people of Ukraine, this needs to be stopped. We should not have any wars in the 21st century.
And what are the areas that you think India and the US can work together to solve the global issues?
Well, working together by having increased capabilities of national defense, America can help. India's first world country, not third, okay? And so by first world, India has the capability of having a defense industry so that they can produce the equipment that they can protect themselves. And so America can be right there to help back this up.
Thank you very much, Joy Wilson, for speaking to DD Network. It was pleasure having you on the Doordarshan Network. Thanks you very much. Thank you very much. His direct and a public comment that this is not the era of war, but through dialogue and diplomacy, we all must do to stop this bloodshed and the human sufferings, especially with reference to the Ukraine war.
Yeah, well, he's right. If we work again together, if we have a united front, I think that should make a very significant difference.
I thank you very much for your time. So this was Don Muser, who is the congressman from Pennsylvania, with camera person Mohit Joshi, Ajay Mishra, DD India, Washington DC.